Africa Oil Week is currently on the go in Cape Town. Joining us now to discuss the African oil industry is Wale Tinubu, CEO of Oando. Wale, thanks so much for joining us today. News out when it comes to Oando that you are looking to expand on your assets further. In fact, the numbers that we are seeing is that you're looking to buy reserves holding as much as 4 billion barrels of oil equivalent resources and also focusing on 2.5 million barrels of existing oil finds. Give us your view on, of course, expanding further on your business and getting these acquisitions on the go.
First of all, those figures are wrong. We have a business plan which seeks to achieve 500 million barrels, and we hope to be able to achieve 100,000 barrels a day of production over the next 5 years.
So you're looking at half a billion barrels, is that what you're saying?
That's correct, yes.
Correct. Over the next 5 years?
Yes.
Okay. Other news out as well is a disputed contract or a contract that was made with the Ghanaian government. Could you give us some information about that? Because essentially what we're hearing is that you were given contract or rights to develop Ghana's gas infrastructure, but GNPC says that these claims are not correct.
Once again, that's misinformation. We did submit a proposal with SIPEM and we were shortlisted, and we received a letter from GNPC saying we had been selected and we were due to, and indeed had several sessions to discuss the project, and along the line the project got stalled. So I think there's no dispute as to the fact that we were selected. The letter was written to us, signed and delivered. But I must mention, though, that there's really no issue. We do continue to work with the Ghanaian government. We don't have any issues with them.
Yeah. Well, this deal could be potentially worth $1 billion. Is this a big blow for Oando going forward?
No, it's not a big blow for Oando going forward. We have had a cumulative growth rate of approximately 50% per annum year on year over the last 5 years. We have revenues in excess of $2 billion a year. We are diversified across the value chain from the downstream to the midstream and the upstream, and we continue to expand our operations.
Are you saying you diversified across the value chain? Give us an indication of how your assets look at this point in time. I mean, obviously we know that you are not only on the retail side of things, but also on the exploration strategy path as well.
Currently we have 11 upstream licenses. We have production on land. We have production in the deep offshore. We are the first indigenous company to have a producing interest in a deep offshore field currently in Nigeria. We are expanding our exploration assets. It's a big thrust for the business going forward, and we intend to participate actively in the divestments that we see happening in Nigeria as a result of the majors optimizing their portfolios. In the midstream, we have the largest swamp drilling fleet. We have a fluids company, and we're active in the service industry. As you are aware, the Nigerian government has created a National Content Development Act, which seeks to encourage local indigenous companies like us, and we have an enabling environment with which to drive our business. In the downstream, we also have the largest gas pipeline distribution network of the private sector. We have a 100-kilometer pipeline system in Lagos with 120 customers, and we are very close to completing a new system in the east of Nigeria, 124 kilometers. Currently, we are making plans to build approximately 200 kilometers per annum every year over the next 5 years in a very big gas expansion drive. And the downstream, we're the largest fuels retailer in the country, and we have active participation across West Africa, and that part of our business continues to thrive.
Clearly a lot of projects on the go there, Wale. Just looking at potential projects as well. I mean, one of the big issues when it comes to companies at this point in time in Africa is, of course, sources to funding. We also hear that Royal Dutch Shell is currently busy with an audit of potential buyers for its onshore assets in Nigeria. We know that you've also been involved in that tendering process. Could you tell us about access to funding?
Well, in terms of us, one of the key things we had done earlier on as a indigenous company was that we listed years ago, so we were quoted on the Nigerian exchange. We're the largest indigenous oil and gas company. We have a market cap close to $1 billion. We did a dual listing in 2006 in the Johannesburg Stock Exchange as well, which gives us access to another pool of capital via an accredited international exchange. We have over 20% of our shareholders are foreign. We have over 50 big institutions, international pension funds, hedge funds, are shareholders, and we have approximately 20% invested via Nigerian pension funds and other institutional shareholders. I think one of the things we've done is we have a diversified shareholder base, which is both local and international, and we've always received overwhelming support every time we've gone back to the markets to improve our balance sheet, to expand our operations. So in terms of divestments, we're very comfortable of our ability to raise additional capital as and when requested to underscore this strategic expansion which we are currently undertaking.
Onshore assets that Shell is looking to sell in Nigeria, could you give us some insight into that? We know that you are, as I said, part of the tender process. Clearly you are up against other companies. We also know that when it comes to Ghana, a French engineering company got the gas expansion project. We're also hearing that French Total also relatively quite strong when it comes to the African oil footprint. So your view on Shell offloading those onshore assets and your role to play going forward?
First of all, I must say it's the Shell's desire to optimize its portfolio is a welcome opportunity for local indigenous companies. They do have a very vast portfolio, and we always have said that quite a number of those fields could be better produced by local indigenous companies in the sense that they're small. They don't hit the hurdle rate in terms of return on capital to the large companies, but they're assets which the local indigenous companies could benefit from and will do a good job of them. So we are actively looking forward to participating in whatever process that may be launched.
While we're also seeing reports, and clearly a lot of the things that are information that is available about Oando unfortunately hasn't been right, but could you please confirm this? A lot of talk about you being interested in listing in the London Stock Exchange to raise further capital?
In terms of, as a company, one of the things we've looked at is the viability of listing either Oando PLC or our exploration and production company on an international exchange, and we currently are evaluating the different options and markets available to us. We will certainly make the announcements at the appropriate time.
So from what I'm hearing, there is a possibility?
Yes, it is a possibility. Yeah. It's currently under evaluation, and it's one of the things which we will decide and certainly report to the markets when we're ready.
Wale, very quickly, I'm just looking at that oil price, because when it comes to oil exploration and of course various projects in Africa going forward, it's really underpinned by the oil price. We're sitting very close to $90 a barrel. We've just seen another round of quantitative easing. Where do you see the oil prices going from here onwards?
Well, I suppose I'll be a billionaire if I could predict those prices. But one thing is definite, oil prices will rise. I think the rate of reserve replacement is lower. We are certainly consuming globally a lot more than we are discovering, and all those new discoveries, the bulk of them are deep offshore discoveries, which are very expensive to put into production, or sub-salt, as you.
At what level oil would you like to see the oil price where it becomes economically viable for offshore and onshore oil exploration?
I think at these levels, onshore exploration, certainly the oil price is comfortable. I think that you're going to see a progressive increase as more and more deep offshore fields come into production.
Yeah. Fantastic. Wale, thank you so much. Unfortunately, we have to leave it there. I have to wrap, but thank you for joining us on the program today.